on this server, and we have promoted this server to domain controller. Then guys, before ending the class, what we have done, we have created two virtual machines. Okay, and in one virtual machine we have installed Windows Server 2022. On other virtual machine we have installed Windows 10 machine. Let us move forward. So topology will close it. Now guys, before moving forward, you should remember these terminologies. Okay, they are very important. Okay, if you know the difference between these terminologies, you will get the advanced concepts. Okay, so domain controller, as we have discussed, it is a server that controls the domain, which means the domain controller controls the logical network. And what is the domain? Domain is a logical network, and we have ADDS. To install domain controller, we must install a special service called ADDS. Okay, we have some other terminologies as well. We have some other terminologies. Okay, the first terminology is client. What is the meaning of this client? The machine which is joined the domain is called as a client. So we have a domain, okay, like ms.com, and you will, so these are the machines, they have not joined to the domain. Okay, when you join these machines to domain, they are called as clients. Okay, so client means the machine which is joined the domain, and there are two types of clients in the domain model. We have one member server. Okay, what is this member server? The machine which is joined the domain with server operating system installed. Let us say you have installed, you have one server and you have installed Windows Server 2022, and you have joined this machine with server operating system to ms.com domain. So it is called as member server because we have installed server operating system on this machine and we have joined this machine to ms.com. It is called as member server. What is the use of this member server? We will discuss it later. Okay, and if you see here the machine which is joined to domain with server operating system, it is called as member server. Example, Windows Server 2012, Windows Server 2022. And server operating system, it is an operating system that is designed to be used on server. Okay, you will take one server machine and you will install the server operating system. It is used to provide the services to multiple clients. So this server operating system is used to provide the services to multiple clients, and it can serve multiple clients at a time, and it is very advanced operating system. So this server operating system is used to provide the services to multiple clients, and it is very advanced operating system. Okay guys, so we have two types of clients. One is member server and we have workstation. This workstation, the machine is joined the domain with client operating system. Installed is called as workstation. So you have one computer, let us say you have installed Windows 10 operating system. So this Windows 10 operating system is a client operating system and you have joined the domain ms.com. Then it will become workstation. Okay, so you have two types of clients. One is member server, the other one is workstation. Member server, you will install server operating system on on a machine and you will join the domain, and you will install client operating system on a machine and you will join the domain and it will become workstation. Now guys, let us see when to install a member server. So we have seen that machine with Windows Server operating system installed, it called as member server. But what is the use? When to install this member server? So we have domain controller in our network. So this is a domain controller. Okay, and the IP address of this domain controller is 10.0.0.1, and the server name is server-01. So we already have one domain controller in our network, and our requirement is to install the servers like DHCP server, file server, print server, and web server. So we can install these services. We can install DHCP service, file server, print server, web server on this domain controller. Okay, but what will happen if you install all the services on the domain controller itself? Server performance will be reduced. And if one server goes down, all the services goes down. Okay, if this server goes down, DHCP, file server, print server, and web server, all the services goes down. So we can't install some applications like SAP and SAP on DC. So we have some services which can't be installed on domain controller like SAP. So this is the problem here. If you try to install all the services on domain controller. So what is the solution? The solution, so installing multiple services on domain controller is not a good idea. So instead of installing multiple services on domain controller, we will install them on separate member servers. Okay, you will take one server, you will install Windows Server operating system like Windows Server 2022, and you will install DHCP service. Then you will take one more server and you will install Windows Server operating system. Then you will install web service and so on. So each server will have separate service. So if this server goes down, it will not impact the other services. So instead of installing multiple services on domain controller, we will install them on separate member servers. So if one server goes down, it will not affect the other server. And what is the requirement to make the member server? System with Windows Server operating system installed like Windows Server 2008, 2012 or 2022, etc. And should be in workgroup. And guys, we are going to configure the IP address from 10.0.0.0 network because we have already configured one IP address on domain controller from this network, which is 10.0.0.1. So we'll use the same network. Okay, we will configure the IP address from the same network. Okay, so this will be the IP address of member server. So this is a logical connectivity, and we'll configure preferred DNS as 10.0.0.1. So preferred DNS will be our domain controller IP address. Then we will join this machine to domain manually because it is in a work group. Okay, manually we need to join the machine to the domain ms.com. After joining the machine to domain, it will be called as client or member server. Okay, it will be called as client, and this client is having server operating system installed, so it will be called as member server. So system with server operating system installed is called as member server. So guys, our lab. So what we will do now, we'll configure the IP address and preferred DNS. Okay, so we have already installed one. We have created one virtual machine and we have installed Windows Server 2022. Okay, in our last class, before ending the class, we have created two virtual machines, and on one virtual machine we have installed Windows Server 2022. On the other virtual machine we have installed Windows 10 operating system. So now what we will do, we will go to these machines and we'll configure the IP address. So we'll configure the IP address. So we'll configure 10.0.0.2 IP address on this Windows Server operating system, and the subnet mask will be 255.0.0.0, and preferred DNS IP address PDNS will be 10.0.0.1. This is the IP address of our domain controller. Then what we will do, we will join the client or we will join the server to the domain. So in member server, no need to install the Active Directory. Okay. And you must visit all the machines and join them to domain manually. So this is a manual process, guys. And you will have to go to each and every computer. You will have to join all the machines to domain manually. We will see how to join the domain. Then we'll verify the things. Okay, whether it has joined to the domain or not. It has joined to domain ms.com or not, and we'll run this net accounts command as well to verify it is a server or not, member server or not. Okay, so let us do this lab first. So guys, this is our domain controller server one. So what we will do now, we will change the name to DC or domain controller before moving forward. We'll click OK. And this server name is server -2. And we have just installed the operating system. Okay. And we need to provide the password. So automatically it will create the administrator username and we need to provide the password. So let us provide the same password, MCSE123 $, MCSE123 $. Okay guys, so after installing the operating system, we need to install the drivers. Okay, so how will you install the drivers? You will go, very good. You will go to VM, then you will go to install VMware tools. Okay, VMware tools will install the drivers. Okay, so this is the fresh installation. After installing the operating system, we didn't do anything. Let us log on to this machine. Okay guys, so we have logged on to this server and on the desktop we have only one icon. We need to set up all the icons. So how will you set up all the icons? You will go to start, right click, then you will go to settings.
Desktop.
Then we'll go to personalization. Under this personalization, we'll go to themes. Under themes, we'll go to desktop icon settings. And here we'll check all the icons, computers, user files, network, control panel. Recycle bin is already checked here. So if you see the desktop, you will find all the icons. And guys, if you observe here, the screen is not full because the drivers are not installed or VMware tool is not installed. So we need to install the VMware tool and you will get the big screen, the complete screen here. Install VMware tools. Then you will go to this PC. Then you will go to DVD drive. You click next, next, install. So it will install the VMware tools. So guys, VMware tools are installed and we'll click finish and it will restart the computer. Okay, so let us click yes. So you can see we are getting the full screen now because the drivers are installed. Let us log on to this server. Now guys, what we need to do here, we'll configure the IP address. Okay, so the domain controller IP address is, the IP address of domain controller is 10.0.0.1. So we'll configure the IP address on this server as 10.0.0.2 and preferred DNS will be 10.0.0.1. This is the IP address of domain controller. Okay, and we'll change the host name as well. So by default, the server will provide the computer name. Okay, any random computer name. So we need to provide any meaningful name to the computer. We'll provide server dash 02. So first change the name of this server. How to change the server name? You will go to this PC, right click, properties. Then you will select this option, rename this PC. By default, this is the name of this server, win-214gme. So we need to provide some meaningful name like server-02. And we'll click next. So again, when you rename the computer, it required restart. Okay, so we'll select this option, restart later. Then guys, we have changed the name. After changing the name, we will configure the IP address. So you will go to search ncpa.cpl, and we'll go to network properties, IP version 4, and the IP address will be 10.0.0.2. Then the preferred DNS will be the IP address of our domain controller, because on this domain controller we have installed DNS. So this is the DNS server as well. So 10.0.0.1. IP address is configured. We'll click OK. Then we'll click close here. Now guys, what we will do, we'll join this server to domain. So if you see this network adapter, it is saying unidentified network. When we join this server to domain, you will see ms.com here. Okay, and here let us join this server to domain ms.com. So again, you will go to this PC, right click, then you will go to advanced system settings. Under this system properties, you will go to computer name. And guys, if you see here, this computer is in work group. It has not joined to the domain ms.com. Okay, so we will join this server to ms.com domain. So how will you join? You will select this option change, and you will select this option. You will go to more. Okay, just 1 second guys. What happened? Okay, no problem. First we'll restart the computer. Okay, because the restart is pending, that is why we are unable to join this server to domain. It is restarted. Okay, we'll wait for few seconds. We'll let this server settle down. We'll go to this PC, right click, properties. Again, we'll go to advanced system settings. To join this server to domain, then you will select this change option. Now we can join this server to domain. Okay, we can select this option. Then we'll type the domain name ms.com. Then you will click OK. Then you will type the administrator username and password. administrator@ms.com. Password is mcse123 $. Then we'll click OK. Now it will contact the domain controller, and you can see it has this computer is joined to ms.com. It is welcoming us. Welcome to the ms.com domain. Then we'll click OK. And again, after joining any computer to domain, we need to restart that computer. So let us restart it. This computer is restarted. after joining the domain. Let us verify whether it has joined the domain or not. So we'll wait for a few seconds. Let us verify. So we'll go to this PC, right click, properties, and if you see here, full device name is server-2.ms.com. And if you see whether it has joined the domain or not, again you will go to advanced system settings, then you will go to computer name, and if you see here, previously it was showing work group, now it is showing domain ms.com, which means it has joined the domain now. And how will you verify whether it is a domain controller or member server? So you will go to command prompt, and net accounts. So when you type this command, if it is a member server, you will see server here, and if it is a domain controller, you will see primary. So let me show you. Net accounts. Okay, primary means it is a domain controller. If you see server, which means it is a member server. And on member server, you don't need to install the Active Directory. You don't need to promote this server as a domain controller. Only you need to join the server to the domain. That's it. Okay, guys. So we have done this lab. We have configured the IP address and preferred DNS. We have verified the IP address. Let us verify the IP address. What is the IP address? Using ipconfig command. So this is the IP address. We have configured 10.0.0.2. And we can check the connectivity as well. So we should check whether it is pinging or not. So we'll go to 10.0.0.2 and ping 10.0.0.1. So it is getting the response as well. Okay, then we have already joined the client to the domain. After that, guys, when to install the workstations. We have seen when to install the member server. Now let us try to understand when to install the workstation. So workstations obtain the services from the member server like DHCP server, file server, print server, web server, etc. To access these services, you need a machine with client operating system installed. So these are the client machines, and they will take the services from the server. Okay, and if you purchase the same operating system in bulk, you will get the discount from Microsoft. So let us say you want to install the workstations. Okay, you have hundreds of computers and you want to install the client operating system on those hundreds of machines. So what you will do, you will purchase the same operating system in bulk, like Windows 10. All the hundreds of machines will get installed Windows 10 operating system. If purchase the same operating system, you will get the discount from Microsoft. And you will get one more advantage of purchasing the same operating system. Let us say if you get an error in one machine, the same solution will be applied to all the machines. Okay, if the operating systems are different, the solutions will be different. So from here, you will install this is the link to install the Windows client operating system or Windows 10 operating system. Okay, so the requirement system, we need to join the workstation to domain now. We have joined the member server to domain. Now we will join the workstation to domain. So what is the requirement? System with Windows client operating system installed like Windows 7, Windows 8 or Windows 10 and should be in work group, and we will configure the IP address 10.0.0. Let us configure 10.0.0.20. Okay, so we'll configure the IP address from the same network and it will form the logical connectivity, and preferred DNS will be 10.0.0.1. After that, we'll join the machine to domain manually because it is in work group. After joining the machine to domain, it will be called as client, and the system with client operating system, it is called as workstation. Okay, so guys, we need to configure the IP address and preferred DNS. Then we'll verify the IP address using ipconfig command. Then we'll ping the domain controller. Then we'll join the workstation to domain. Okay, so we have already installed the Windows operating system yesterday. In our last class, we have created one virtual machine and we had installed the Windows 10 operating system and we had given the name to this virtual machine as workstation 1. Now what we will do, we will log on to this computer and we will install the drivers. After installing the drivers, we'll configure the IP address from 10.0.0.0 network. Preferred DNS will be 10.0.0.1. Okay, after that we'll join the domain and we'll change the computer name as well. So we had just installed the operating system. Okay, and now it is creating the profiles for you. Okay, and it is doing some settings here. It is making the system ready. So guys, we are setting up the Windows 10 operating system for organization. So we'll select the second option. Then we'll click next. And you will select this option, join domain instead. And you will provide the name here. Then you will click next. The password, so we'll provide the same password. MCSC 123 hash dollar. And we'll confirm the password MCSE 123 hash dollar. Then we'll click next. And we need to provide some security questions, answers here. Okay. It is like, where were you born? So Hyderabad. Next, second security question, nickname Asif. And the third security question, pet name, anything. We'll click next. Just 1 second. We need to accept. So this Windows 10 takes a lot of time. Servers are not taking much time here. So guys, any doubt till here?
No. No, sir. Thank you.
Okay. All right, guys. So let us set up the icons first. We'll go to Start, right click on Start, then Settings, then we'll personalization. We'll go to Personalization, then we'll go to Themes, Desktop Icon Settings, then we check the icons. All the icons are available here. Now guys, we'll change the name and we'll install the tools. Workstation 1. We'll click Next. Restart later. Then we'll install VMware tools. Next, install. Finish and we'll restart the computer now. It is restarted. Let us log on to this machine. So let us configure the IP address on this machine from 10.0.0.0 network. So we'll configure any IP address. Let us configure 10.0.0.200 and preferred DNS it will be 10.0.0.1. You click OK and we'll verify the IP address. The IP address is 10.0.0.200. Will ping the domain controller 10.0.0.1. It is pinging. Okay, so so it is not the part of domain. Let us join this computer to domain. Then we'll verify. We'll go to properties. Then we'll go to advanced system settings. Then we'll go to computer name. Under computer name, select this change option, domain ms.com. Then we'll click OK. Administrator @ You are currently offline. Okay. Administrator. You need to select English US @ms.com. Then password MCSE123 $. Then we'll click OK. Again, we need to restart this machine. Okay, let us verify this computer has joined the domain or not. We'll wait for a few seconds. We'll go to this PC, properties, advanced system settings, computer, and you can see it is a part of ms.com domain. Okay, and if you go to command prompt and you will type net accounts, it will show you workstation. Okay, it is a workstation, it is a member server, and this is the domain controller or primary. Okay, so we have successfully done all these labs. Okay, so now guys, you might be thinking, why can't we use the server operating system for workstation? Why these different operating systems? So you have hundreds of computers, and if we install the server operating system on all the hundreds of computers, you need to pay a lot. They are very expensive server operating systems, and it will be difficult for users to manage the server operating system. Okay, so and why can't we use the client operating system for member servers? Okay, so this client operating system, it is a basic operating system which doesn't have the advanced features like server operating system, but it is an user friendly operating system and it is cheap, which has enough features to access the services from server. So that is why we don't use